Alright, so right here, this is the cabinetry and the inside wall. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, first off, let me open this up. You can tell I got a lot of trash. It's got to get taken away. But basically, I've been yanking this whole wall out. Remember, there used to be a whole wall here with a cabinet up in here. That cabinet is out. That whole entire wall, it had to be cut out in separate little pieces, but that whole thing's out. I'm leaving that cabinet because that's got exterior access, and I'm going to leave this cabinet in these drawers. Then over here, there was a big cabinet up here, and I yanked that, and I'll tell you, that cabinet right there weighs as much as I do. I've already got it out in the van. But so now what I've been doing is going through and one by one saying, okay, what's this wire? Trace it down. You can tell I've already been in there looking at it. But trace this one wire down, figure out, okay, is this something I can get rid of? Is this one something I can get rid of? You know, I've already cut these wires, so the ground is still hooked up, but the hot wire, this is a white spotlight that's facing out the front, and I want to hook that stuff back up, but on my switches, not in theirs. I still have all of this to figure out, and little by little I've been going up and turning the power on and trying it just to find out, because I don't want to disconnect something that may impede the starting of the vehicle. But right here we had this was just a vent hose that came out and connected up to here, and all that does is sucking, it keeps the interior breathing, so I'll use that for something else. We don't need this channeling hose and everything. You can tell I've got the sealing out of it. That's a temporary thing right there. I don't even have it sealed at the top. As a matter of fact, it's got a leak and I'm catching it in the bucket. But I still have to remove this, remove those outlets, and get this piece out of the way. That's the outlets are the only thing holding this little board in there. But then I'll put a wall up here and a wall up here. This wall would probably come all the way down. I'll put my microwave and some storage or whatever, and this area here is probably going to be a slide out bed. So, you know, when it's up, it's a couch, and then I pull it out and drop that thing down, and that makes a bed out of it. Because Gopher Rider and I are going to take this to Columbus here in, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. But obviously all this stuff is all trash, so that's all going to get out of here. This is all wiring that I've removed. So all of the red lights on the side, on the sides of the ambulance, I've disconnected all the power going to the red lights and to the white lights. Sorry about my little finger, it keeps getting in the way. But you can tell it's a cluster, I'll tell you. Figuring out what all these wires are, and like this one I know I'm not going to need. This was a ignition start thing for the generator that used to be up under there. We've already removed that generator, so that can go away. All these plugs, that right there and that right there, those hook up to the original box of stuff that was back here, which I'm not planning on using. Basically, what I'm trying to do is completely gut this thing down. I may or may not use the AC current lines that are running in here, because back in there is the converter, the inverter, and air compressors for the air ride airbag system and everything, and little by little I'll get that stuff out of here too. But I'll probably use the 110 volt stuff over again, because like this one over here, this is a 110 volt outlet, and I plan on being able to just plug my Jackery into these and be able to mount that in the wall. So there's an outlet there, there's 2 outlets over here, and I don't remember what else. Oh, by the way, this right here did have a little miniature walkway that was just big enough for me to crawl through, and I have cut all of this out and made that as wide as the van front end. So, you know, that will stay open, and when I need to cap the windows off, I'll use my stuff right here, and this one is for the windshield, so that way I don't have to worry about a curtain or whatever. And the red lights up there still work, up there in the ceiling. Don't know about the dome lights, I'll need to check that. But here's something else that I hooked up the other day, if I can turn the power on and everything and get this working. Where's the switch? There it is. I did check this radio was just sitting in the hole. I pulled it out, the plugs were all there, I plugged it in, and darn thing works. So I do have a radio that I'm gonna switch that out for, but at least that one's in there and working. But right here I hooked up a semi-truck camera system, so I have out the front, which is that little camera right there, and that's the only one that is not mounted down yet. I gotta put some 2-sided tape on that. So out the front, out the back, on the left side and the right side. So that's all hooked up and working. And give you an idea here, that's what they are right there. So that one's my reverse, and those right there. And I'll tell you, if you're going to do this on an ambulance, don't drill into this, because this stuff is thick and heavy duty. So I drilled into the door and installed it in the door. So I just wrapped the wires with the factory wires for the door lock, because I'm trying to keep the door lock stuff active. But and these are optional. I may or may not use these or replace them with something else. But down inside here, you can tell. Now I've got this jumped over. These were plugged into the inverter here. I plugged them into the extension cord, and now I just plug that into Jackery, and that activates my outlets. So this right here I'm not really using. This can be removed, that can be removed. That's the converter that basically takes 12 volt from the vehicle, bumps it up to 110 volt, and then turns around and knocks it back to 12 volt. Why? I have no idea. And then we've got the 2 compressors back there for the airbag suspension, and I don't care about the airbag stuff, so these will get removed. That will be removed, this will be removed, that will be removed. I'll put a like a 2000 or 3000 watt power inverter back here, or somewhere up in the front closer to the batteries is preferred. But we'll have Jackery down here, and like I say, these do lock with the regular locks on it. Hope y'all like that, because that's the way the world is. But I have named the bus the Zombulance. I've got my Van City Van Life, Cruiser Nation, and of course a what do you call it? I don't know. One of them chicks from the car shows. So that's what we got going on. Basically, everything mechanically, you know, shelving or whatever, everything's been removed that I'm going to remove, because I want to keep that one and keep that one. So I have to remove that. But other than that, and possibly in order to get to wires, I might have to remove this wall. Only reason I didn't want to is because it's framed around that. So this frame will have to come out if I'm going to take that out. But just trying to figure everything out. It's all fun and games till you got to take this stuff apart. Alright guys, so that's the whole rundown of the situation on the ammo. Like I say, I am pretty much done with, you know, tearing things down. Now it's time to figure out these wires and everything and remove the wires that I don't need, and you know, try to figure out what I do need and everything, and try to make it to where it'll still start. Because I unplugged one thing once and all of a sudden the ignition didn't work, so had to plug that back in, and that was some of this crap down in here. Oh, and another thing is, I unplugged one of those and realized all the lights on the box, parking lights, running lights, brake lights, you know, license plate light and everything, all the exterior lights did not work anymore. So I have to be careful about what I disconnect. But alright everybody, well, like I say, I think that is wicked though. And the cool thing is I can hit different stuff and get different views. So just the front, just the right, combo, you know, you can do different stuff. And this also has a micro SD card in it, so like right there, it's recording right now, little red lights flashing. So if you want it to record, you just hit that or turn it off. But that's a pretty cool system. So alright everybody, like I say, that's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll get this ambulance going here shortly. We'll catch you on the flip side. Digger is out.